All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on I guess you could say it was like a dream, man. And I'm not gonna even say what was happening in the dream. Like, it's not really even necessary to say. But I was just thinking, what could that have meant? And the conclusion I came up with is that you can be betrayed, man. Right? Don't be surprised if you get betrayed by the people that are around you. Right? Don't be surprised if they end up trying to all turn against you, man. Don't be surprised. Right? And we already know that it's in the scriptures anyway. Right? We already know that's in there. This is Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness in this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, the spirits are even connected to betrayal. Now, some people might say, this guy don't know what he's talking about. He should be on milk or whatever, right? But I know that I've read what's in the scriptures, man, and I know that I've listened to when the elders, apostles, brothers are talking and saying what's in the scriptures, man. I know I've been listening, right? And I know what I've also read, right? Luke chapter 22 and verse 3. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12, right? Satan was connected to the betrayal of Yahushua from Judas Iscariot. It's clearly written right there. And within the scriptures, Yahushua said to Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan," right? And he was talking to Peter, but he was also talking to what was influencing Peter. And this is how I understand that verse, even on the next way, man. Especially when you consider what happened in Luke 22 verse 3, that Yahushua was rebuking the demons on Peter, man. He was rebuking the demons on him, because he even said to Peter, "Satan desired to have you, but I've prayed for you," right? And the same way how Satan was influenced by, Judas was influenced by Satan to betray Yahushua. People around you could be influenced by Satan and by evil spirits to betray you, man. Your spirit might be the highest level one of all the people that you are, which more than likely definitely is. All you brothers out there, apostles, elders, your spirit's more than likely the highest one bit about compared to all the people that are in your so-called family anyway. Your worldly people that you might somewhat have still around you to a certain degree. Your spirit's higher than theirs, and you can handle more spiritual attacks than they can, right? This is Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. So here's verse 18, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And within this dream that I had, one of the things that I did when I perceived that somebody was going to try and do me a harm was I prayed to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. And then what they had planned for me failed, right? What they had planned to try and do to me, it failed, man, right? And they ended up falling in the same situation that they had planned for me, right? That's what ended up happening. But it shouldn't be a shock to your system. And that's why it's not even a need for me to say what happened, I don't think, within this dream, man. Because we know that there's many situations that can happen anyway, where people that are somewhat close to someone can try and betray them because they now think, oh, I don't believe this. I don't believe this anymore. Things are getting too real now, blah, blah, blah. And all of these kind of things, man. Like, for example, you got all these women out there in this world, yeah. This is just an example. You got all these women in this world, and some people might be like, oh, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? It's like the women leave women alone, man. They're sisters, man. They're strong sisters. You know what I mean? And fair enough. But I'm just giving an example here. You got people in this world, women in this world, that they love these Pookie and Ray Ray trap gods. Yeah, these trap lords and all that. They love them until some of that trap lord business ends up landing on their lap and ends up landing on their front door, and now they have to see his so-called and all that ops and all that, and now they're having to be in the mix because they're with that guy. Now all of a sudden things start getting too deep, and they want to try calling the old bill and being like, "Oh, I know where he's gonna be at. I know this." But when it was time for them to be going eating oysters, crabs, crab legs, shrimps, and all that, yeah, sipping on Cavassier and Hennessy with lemon and lime, right? Being all in the club, getting given back specialized bags from Italy that really we've come to find out get made in China, right? For $1,000. But then the Italians just throw a bit of their little small bit of change on it, and now they say, oh, it's made in Italy, right? When the women get babe to do all that, they don't care about what he's doing to the neighborhood. But the moment they start seeing that they're catching a ricochet after madness, now all of a sudden they start changing up, man. And that's what a lot of people that say they believe in God are on. They're in the church, banging a tambourine off their hip bone, right? Tink, tink, give me joy in my heart, and all that, singing their whack ass gospel music, right? Sing Hosanna, and all that in the church, clapping the tambourine off their hip, right? But just wait I wonder how much they're gonna be singing unto the Lord when the MOTB is getting brought here, or they're gonna be running to Esau when they have to find themselves in a situation where they ain't no food. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna call upon Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai? Or are they gonna run to the red Hebrew Edomite for MOTB, quick, fast delivery? You know what I mean? And we're gonna be surprised. People are gonna be surprised, man. People are gonna be surprised. The day of the Lord is gonna be a surprising time in many regards, man. Someone thought, man, this person ain't gonna make it, man. They might end up making it. Somebody that thought, man, this person's definitely gonna make it. I know they're definitely gonna get beamed up. They might not make it. And somebody that you didn't even know had any faith, they could end up making it, man. And somebody that thought that they had faith could end up betraying. And this isn't me trying to sow discord among brethren and all that. But Judas Iscariot was with Yahushua and still betrayed. The man that was on next to Yahushua being crucified and getting crucified himself, right? And then there's another man. One man was like, yo, save yourself. And while you're at it, mate, if you don't mind, save me. Save yourself and us, get us out of here. He wasn't like, oh, I deserve the judgment that I'm actually going through, and you don't. Like the other man said. The other man said, I deserve this. I deserve to be here, but you don't. So don't be surprised if when it goes down and whatever you have to go through in your life to get a space in the chat, if somebody that kind of heard the doctrine and all that, and then they've been watching your videos secretly, don't be surprised if you and them end up in the same environment, man. And then they're looking and they're like, man, I know who you are. You're one of them Israelite mans, innit? You was on that Bible thing. What the hell are you doing here? I know why I'm here going through all of this. I know that what I've did in my life and I deserve these things that I'm happy. But you guys was just reading the Bible. I wasn't just reading the Bible. I was out in the world doing a madness. But you man was only just reading the Bible. I used to watch y'all. And I kind of was like, yeah, what them man are saying is true, but I didn't believe it to the same degree what you man was saying. That don't be surprised if something like that happens, man. Don't be surprised. In fact, it's best, or I would say it would be a good idea to think that the worst things possible could happen to you. Could. Not that they will, but that they could happen to you. Right? So that you're prepared mentally for that event. Luke chapter 21 and verse 12, but before all these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what ye shall answer, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And these people can't resist or gainsay what we're saying. They can't say, man, you man are wrong. They can't say that. They can't truly, honestly say that. When they say that we're wrong, they haven't gave the alternative answer. So therefore, we're not wrong. You just don't like what we're saying. When these people are saying Obadiah 1 and 18, these guys are lying. They're just hateful. They're preaching hate. All right, well, there's verses in the Bible that you couldn't read them without you preaching hate, right? Like, it's not possible to read Romans 9 and 13 without preaching or talking, without preaching or talking about hate. It's not possible. Like, how can you read a scripture that says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated, without preaching hate? It's not possible. But slimeball Christians want to try and go on like they're preaching love. But their doctrine contains a place that you go and burn forever, called hell. We don't teach that, but they do. But they're teaching love. Are they preaching love? I don't think so. I don't think that sounds really like a lovely time to me. If I was a heathen, which I don't believe there's any chance of that, but let's say I was, right? I wouldn't want to be in a hell forever. I'd rather the doctrine that the Hebrew Israelites talk about. Also, he's saying that when I'm in the kingdom, I just gotta keep the laws, and then we're gonna get punished for the things that we did wrong, right? And that's kind of understandable, I guess. I'm not gonna like it, but it's understandable. Then afterwards, after 1,000 years, there's potential that I can be reincarnated again, but not be immortal like you guys are gonna be, and I can just try and keep God's laws, and then nothing bad would happen to me as long as I'm being a good citizen under the kingdom of heaven. Well, that's fine. Whereas according to Christianity, you just burn in hell forever. Now, if you're an Edomite, the day is gonna come where you're destroyed completely off the face of the earth, according to the doctrine of Israelites. But according to the doctrine of Christianity, you'll just be burning in hell forever. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And they say that you have to repent in order to not do that, but then that means they're saying that our ancestors that was in the Atlantic slave trade, that was getting completely brutalized, was made to not even read, right? That some of them are in hell then, because they wouldn't have got the chance to read the scriptures and repent. They was forced not to be able to read. Verse 16. But then you notice that they never say that their ancestors were in hell for the Atlantic slave trade. They never say that. I've never heard no Edomite say that, man. Are their ancestors going to be burning in hell for what they did? You know what I mean? They don't want to. They don't want to speak about that because they don't really believe in hell, man. They believe in now. They believe in me. They believe in us. And when I say me, I don't mean me as in the person on the video talking. And when I say us, I don't mean us as the Israelites. I mean they believe in themselves, man. Esau believes in me, myself, and I. Verse 40, verse 12. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what you shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And Yahweh can set you up in a situation like that as preparation for what you're gonna have to go through, man. Where people try and set you up to have your life ruined after antagonizing you. And then Yahweh just gives you the right words to say. He don't make you run away. He makes you Matthew 5:25, right? Which I'll read it. I'll read it, man. He don't make you run away from being in before the judges and all that. He makes you just go straight in there to them. And then they can't even complain about anything you got to say. Matthew chapter 5, verse 25, agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Yahweh can set you up, can deliver you out of these situations, man. If we remember this, agree with thine adversary quickly. If you've done something somewhat wrong, accept, man. Now that's different, going to be different to the time in in Luke 21. But what Yahweh Shai did when he was faced before, he didn't even say anything to none of them. He just ignored them, man. And they was talking about, don't you know I've got power to do this and power to do that. And he was like, you ain't got no power to do anything except my father's gave it you from heaven. It was basically like, yo, shut your mouth, man. You think you think you're in control of this situation? No, my father in the heavens is in control of this situation. And if he wasn't in control of it, then I would have been. But that's the pride of men that makes them think that they're running a show down here on this earth, man. That's what Esau's going through right now. He thinks he's running the show. Yet every single move that he's doing is just leading him closer and closer to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. That's what's happening. He's just leading him close. Everything he does, he's leading him right there. Everything all you heathens do, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? It's all leading to us getting the kingdom, man. It's all leading to the elected nation of Israel receiving crowns, getting beamed up, becoming immortals, all of that. And even some brothers out there, like children and stuff like that, and the people in their family that are close to them, they're going to start having dreams and visions of not even like in the kingdom, man. They're going to start having dreams about what's going to be happening in the kingdom. Never mind the days of the Lord, which is beautiful times that we've got to go, and dark times though we're going to have to go through. That's going to be a beautiful story to tell to all the people that are born after the kingdom. But they're going to see visions of the things that they're going to be doing in the kingdom, and just like when they've got them powers, man. That's what I believe anyway. And it's based on scriptures. Let me see if I can find that scripture. I think it's in Joel, right? This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahweh your power, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men, shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, right? And also upon the servants, and also upon the servants, upon the handmaids in those days, would I pour out my spirit. So all people are going to be seeing all kind of things leading up to what's coming in the day of the Lord, man. Like even I was watching Corey Holcomb 5150 show, which that guy's a hilarious comedian, man. And it reminds me a bit of one of the elders in the one of the elders of GMS, man. And I ain't gonna say which one he reminds me of, man. And he kind of looks like him a bit too, in my opinion. But I ain't gonna say who, because they might get offended, and I ain't trying to offend nobody by saying that, man. But he kind of reminds me of them, right? But Corey Holcomb was even going in, like he was going in on women like he normally does, right? And he's hilarious. He's funny how he was doing it, right? But then he started even trying to talk about the scriptures in his thing, right? And he said, I ain't read the Bible back and forth, but This part I'm talking about, I'm telling the truth, and he wasn't telling the truth. He was trying to go in on how he was saying how angels were on the earth sleeping with women and they was like turned against God and was trying to sleep with women. And the things he was saying was funny. But then I felt bad for laughing because this guy is going off. Right? He's going like Jake's funny, right? Jake's funny and that, but he was going off, man. He was chatting the most, chatting reckless. And then the other guy that was next to him was talking about they need to remake a new Bible and have a chapter each on us. I was thinking to myself, like, what are you on about? Right? There's a line when it comes to the scriptures, man. But then, I mean, when it comes to talking about the God, Heavenly Father, there's a line that you don't want to cross with pride, man. But then when I've heard some of the elders say, and some of their parts, or I've mainly heard the elders say this particular point that they think that they might be when we're in the kingdom books written on us, but that's different than saying there should be a Bible now written that contains us, because you ain't even been desiring your life to be for the word of Yahweh right now. The person that was saying that, they haven't been. So why would there be a book made about you? And the thing that I was thinking when I was hearing Corey Holcomb going into the things that he was going into in the scriptures, and he was talking about how the Bible is the number one toxic masculinity book against women, which he was not wrong about that. It is. But I was thinking, man, this guy has heard the apostles, man. He's heard them. Even I did a video like 3 years ago, and it gave me confirmation. I ended up watching the video and listening to the things that I said in the video again, and I was like, man, the things that I was saying in that video, I received confirmation of what some of the things I said in the video 3 years ago, man. And it was a video about a particular movie or something like that, right? And I was like, oh yeah, the person that is making this movie, they definitely have heard the Hebrew Israelites. They've watched Hebrew Israelite videos or something like that, because there's no way that they would come up with an idea for this movie had they not have seen or heard the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. It was what they were saying in the movie was just too accurate to the things that we say are going to happen in the dark day and dreadful day of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's wrath, right? And then it might be about a day or two ago now, but they commented, the person that's making the movie, I believe it's the person that's making the movie, and it's not no high budget movie, so this ain't no like, but then this ain't no like high budget movie, like I already said in the video. But the person, I believe the person that's making the movie, right, some small independent movie company, right? They ended up commenting on the video. They didn't comment to whether they thought what I was saying was right or wrong or nothing like that. Their message just said to me like, get ready, the movie's coming out soon, or the movie's coming out this year, 2025, something like that. And then they just posted a link, right? And then I went to see who it was that sent the message, and it was the people that was, according to what I think, the people that was making are going to be making the movie, and they had a trailer put on there, and the trailer had only recently been put up, like about half an hour ago, 25 minutes, half an hour ago. I was like, see, they had been watching the Hebrew Israelites, because I believe I'm a Hebrew Israelite, right? And I so like I'm trying to think of, like I'm trying to like get my words out properly, man. Like, I'm an Israelite, and my channel don't have no large amount of following or nothing like that. But somehow, and if that video only had like 50 views, which is more than I'd normally even see on a video that I make, right? But that person that made the thing, they ended up seeing, which it did mention the name of the movie in there, right? But they commented on there. They didn't have to. They didn't have to do that, but it just confirmed that, yeah, these people have came across the videos of the Israelites. They have, because they came across one of my videos, and mine's are one of the lowest. I'm one of the least. So how much more one of the elders, apostles, you think they wouldn't have came across their videos then on the internet that inspired them to make the movie? I was listening to one. I just saw one video of a gym short, man. It was like some big Jake, one of them Jakes that do the gym thing and that, like Simeon Panda kind of Jakes and that, right? It wasn't Simeon Panda, but it's someone that actually knows that guy and they train with him and that in America, right? And then they was doing some squats or whatever, and then I heard the lyrics in the video. I mean, in the music that was this, they was playing in the background and it said Asiatic, Black Hebrew, and I was like, yo, this is a Wu-Tang Clan song, innit? And I've tried to find the lyric, and I ended up finding it, and I've made a post about it. But when I was listening to the lyrics, I was like, man, this has been inspired more than likely by the Apostles of Great Millstone or by some Israelites that came through the One West, because they was mentioning things like the 12 tribes, 144,000, right? But the apostles know them guys. They've said before I've done video. They know some of them. I can't remember which exact member it was, but they knew one of them. So that influenced it, man. But people try and make it like the Hebrew Israelite thing ain't a big deal. It's one of the things that all these people in the world know about, right? But they don't like to talk about because they kind of want to bite what's being said, and they don't want it to be true. Because if it's true, then everything that they're aspiring to be in this world right now isn't going to happen. So they're kind of like, well, some of the things these men are saying are true, but I don't want all of it to be true, though. I want it to be true that we're the Israelites, but I don't want it to be true that this, that, and that's going to happen. Luke chapter 21 and verse 16, and you should be betrayed. In fact, yeah. And you should be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolk and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. And that's the main reason why the people don't like us, because if it was rapping, being comedians, being actors, being boxers, being athletes, being painters, right? Being anything else in this world, even if it was just being alcoholics, they wouldn't care nowhere near as much as what they care about when we say they were Israelites. You can literally in this world, as a so-called black man, say that you're anything, and they'll kind of look at you aside a certain way, but it's not nowhere near as much as, like, no, you don't have drug dealers and thugs and criminals have people try and stop them from being drug dealers, thugs and criminals. Nowhere near. In fact, people don't try and stop Jake from being that. Really, they just throw him in jail after they've been it. They're like, okay, you're that. I'm gonna throw you in jail though. But when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite thing, they're all trying to get us to not believe that we're Israelites, but they believe that this is the thing that's mad. The Christians, they believe that they're spiritual Israelites. And they don't want no one trying to tell them that they're not that. But here's the thing, we believe that we're literal Israelites and spiritual ones. So leave us alone, because you can't prove that we're not. None of you Christians can tell me that I'm not an Israelite. I don't believe you, right? You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me who I am. You need to take your nationality beam at your own eye. Who are you in the scriptures? Before any of you people want to tell us who we are, who are you? What's your DNA? Don't talk to me about my DNA. That's my own personal private business. Yeah, and don't tell me. Have you did a DNA swap? Have you did a DNA swap? Don't come and tell me. Or what's your DNA? You wouldn't do a DNA test. Have you did a DNA test? No, because you shook that it would say I do me on there if they had it. And here's the thing: if the DNA test really did work, yeah, you know what Esau would do? He'd change the DNA for what's written as being an Edomite, and he'd put the title of Israelite on there, so that every time when the DNA shows that you're an Israelite, that you're an Edomite, really, he'd say, "Oh, that's a Israelite DNA from Yehudim." That's what he'd do. That's all he'd do, because he's the one in control of it. He's the one in charge of the DNA thing. He's the one that came up with the method and what he thinks is accurate for testing DNA. So how could you believe that? And he'd just take whatever would be considered as an Israelite DNA and he'd change it and say, oh, that's Hamite.
So every single time a real Israelite would go in there, if it did actually even work, every single time a real Israelite would go in there and he'd say, oh shit, this person's an Israelite. Okay, but we already know what we call that Israelite one anyway, a Hamite Africa. So why the hell would you go to a DNA test? All they do is change the classification, man. The Amalek DNA would be he'd be calling Yehudim and all that. And the Israelite DNA, every time he saw that, he'd say that's West African or Africa. He wouldn't ever admit that he's an Edomite, because why would you? If I was an Edomite, you think I'd be admitting I'm an Israel, that y'all are Jakes? I'd be lying worse than him. I'll be telling every single kind of lie that you can. I'd have some people saying, yeah, the Bible is real, but this is the true doctrine. I'd have some people saying, nah, the Bible ain't even nothing. We'll be doing all that stuff all the mad things that these people in the world do, we're doing. If we was an Edomite, there'd be no point in not doing them. That's where we'd get our power from, right? But we're Jakes, though. So we don't get our power from the madness that these people do. We got our power from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Verse 17, you should be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall not an hair of your head perish. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. These people can't do nothing, man. They ain't been given the power to ruin our lives like that, man. They ain't been given that access. They wish that they had, but they haven't, though. There's a certain lane, there's a certain path, a certain thing that they are not able to do. They're not allowed to go so far with us, man. They're not allowed to take it too far with us. They're not being given that power, right? And even if we find ourselves in a Revelation 20 and 4 scenario, that's just consider that's to beautify your story and make you worthy to receive that mercy, man. Don't consider that, oh man, Yahweh just thinks I'm a demon. No, that's actually potentially a beautiful story for you to show your courage, man. Because when we read the story of the 7 sons, I believe, and the mother in the book of Maccabees, we don't think, oh man, them guys are suckers, man. They should have just ate the pork, man. That's what a Christian would think. Even these so-called black Christians, they'd think, man, they should have already just ate the pork. No, that story is beautiful. The thing that was being asked to do was what a lot of Jakes do willingly right now. Eat pork. That's what they was told to do, and they did not do it, man. And there was another scenario where there was a elder in that dream in that time, and they told him, you don't even have to really eat pork, just pretend like you are. And he was like, nah, I'm not doing it neither. And he was unalived as well, man. But we don't look back on that story and think, man, them guys were stupid. Just like how people ain't gonna look back on the time of the elect of the nation of Israel that they refused the MOTB and end up getting unalived. They're gonna be like, man, them people had the spirit on them in that day, man. They were righteous. Whereas the people that did willingly go and eat pork and did willingly want to go and bow down to worship what the heathen was telling them to, when we read about those Israelites, we're angered by them, man. When we read about the Israelite that Mattathias unalived after he was willing to quick time go and worship whatever Antiochus Epiphanes told him to, I believe it was, right? We look at that Israelite like, ugh, he's disgusting. He ain't got no honor or integrity. But the Israelites that was prepared to be unalived rather than bowing down, those are looked at with honor from us when we read about them in the scriptures. If you find yourself in that Revelation 20 and 4 scenario, which I'll read it, don't view that as like, oh man, see, I'm just being rejected, man. I thought that I was never going to end up in a scenario like this where I'd have been going through all of these things and then Esau was trying to force me to take the MOTB. Why did you think that? If that was to a certain degree, prideful of you to think that, because Yahweh Shai really didn't do anything wrong and he had to go through everything for the things that you did wrong and the things that you was going to do wrong. So don't ever think that you can't end up in a scenario, no matter how many good works you did, because Yahweh Shai truly did good works and went through everything, man. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4, and I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai. So that's the potential that's going to face everyone that believes in the Lord, that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, because they understood what Yahweh Shai really came to do. to save his own nation. And Peter, that's going to agree the world. They ain't going to want to hear that. Oh, you're saying that. You're saying you've figured it out that Yahweh really was only coming to save his own people. We're going to behead you for that. And for the word of Yahweh. So they understood what Yahweh really came to do. And they understood the true doctrine of the Yahweh. That he don't love everyone. That he's come to give the Israelites a new covenant, not everyone. Right? And which had not worshipped the beast, neither had received his image, neither had received his charagma upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with a Mashiach 1,000 years. Right? Like these people, man, do not like Yahushua. They don't like what he looks like. They don't like what he stands for. They like the doctrine that Dave came up with concerning him. And that doctrine is full of BS and lies, man. And most of these people on this earth are enemy, man, according to this doctrine. They don't believe this. They hate Yahweh and they hate Yahweh Shai. And they hate anyone that believes in those two and that has faith. They just hate them. Right? They don't like you. And they want your life to be destroyed, man. That's the truth of the matter. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.